everybody, it's Romania Black. We are on episode 3 of Bungo Stray Dogs. I I commented on it last episode, but this show, it's a lot funnier than I thought it was going to be, and it's just the pace it has been going. It's doing all of the basic things of setting up our fish out of water character at Sushi, getting stuck in this agency, and Dazai and Kunikita kind of initiating him to make sure he's going to be a good member. And the president let Dazai pick whether or not he's going to be in the agency, and Dazai said yes. So clearly, despite Dazai's kind of laissez-faire persona, clearly the president trusts him and his judgment. So, and then at the very end of the episode, we had this mysterious dark-haired, white-tipped antagonist-looking guy, looks like Dracula, show up, so with some kind of demon coming out of him. So cool. But I said this episode I was going to research Dapo Poet and his powers, and so I have done that. The Matchless Poet. So Dapo Poet, Dapo Kunikita's pseudonym, literally mean his pseudonym Dapo Genkaku, literally meaning lone poetry. So, in 1897, it said that Kunikita became widely recognized as a poet after he published a number of poems into the collection Dapo Jin, known as Dapo's Poems or Songs of Dapo. And the poetry collection communicates his love for nature and his affinity for Western Romanticism, with William Wordsworth being one of his major literary romantic influences. So a romantic, which is interesting that Dapo is... I love the idea of his writing in the book and it becomes the weapon or becomes whatever he wants. But I like the idea of that being the case with him. I think that's really cool. And so I looked up William Wordsworth. What a perfect name for a poet, William Wordsworth. And he was a 18th century poet who was in the English Romantic era and launched the Romantic age of English literature, including literary ballads, including the Prelude, which I've heard of the Prelude. I didn't realize he was the author of it. And he's had lots and lots of poems to his names, most of them being romantic and tying in to Shakespeare and so forth. So very, very interesting. Very interesting. So I like the idea of that explanation with his character. I think that's pretty cool. I'm definitely going to research more characters as we get into this series because there's a lot and there's going to be a lot of abilities. But I like that Kunikita, despite being this gruff, the bad cop sort of thing, has a romantic side perhaps. I find that interesting. But in any case, this show has been really cool so far. I like that Atsushi's officially an agency member now. And now we're doing Yokohama Gangster Paradise, which all I can think of is the Coolio song from the 90s. And so that's not helping me at all. I feel like I'm watching this and Skate the Infinity at the same time. And Skate the Infinity is so very 90s. So with this episode, I've definitely felt the Coolio influence. So, but yeah, I'm pretty excited, y'all. So without further ado, we are going to dive into episode 3 of Bungo Stray Dogs. Please feel free to comment down below. Please no spoilers, but thank you all so much for watching. And we are going to start this episode here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Oh, okay. Holy cow. Well, that just got a little bit interesting, y'all. Just a wee bit. Man, we just cranked it up this episode. Last episode was like, oh, it's just a trial phase, just diffusing, like just initiation. You're in the agency. This episode's like, okay, we're gonna crank it up a notch. So, oh my gosh. Gosh, so much happened. And I like that we didn't have to guess for the rest of the season what Dazai's former occupation was. He's a former mafia man. Ooh, former member of the Port Mafia. So I love that we're getting out of Banana Fish and going straight into more mob stuff, more crime noir. I'm all about it. Okay, first of all, Tanizaki and Naomi. Siblings, you say? I don't think so. I don't know siblings that act quite as close as they do, unless it's a weird sibling thing. But just get the feeling that they're more in a couple than they are siblings. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But Akutagawa, Ryunosuke Akutagawa. Oh my gosh, what a mouthful of a name. He is an interesting character. So we get him and Ichio, his Harugi, his accomplice, and I don't remember her ability. I'm going to relook it up. I might do hers and his and Tanazaki's, the light snow, for the next round. But her and her machine guns. But yeah, so Akutagawa, very, very intriguing, like this soft-spoken, like kind of maniacal character. His ability, the Rashomon, where it's just this literal demon coming out of him, is very interesting. I can see why it would be a problem, because it literally looks like a demon's possessed him and controlling him, which is interesting. I am a little curious as to, he was coughing a bit, like maybe he was worn down. So I wonder if him using the ability like eats away at himself, like there's a karma to it, there's a price that you have to pay to get that power, and it's slowly like maybe devouring him. I don't know, because he says the monster devours anything and everything that it wants, and so I'm wondering if it has something to do with him maybe, and it's like eating away at him perhaps. I don't know. Tanazaki's ability, the first snow, is so cool. The idea that it's like a light screen and you can make mirages out of it, and it's just like him being able to use that clutch whenever Atsushi faced Akutagawa was really interesting. That was so cool. And I'm glad Atsushi can control his ability now during the daylight. It's not just like a moonlight thing. I suppose that during the moonlight he has no choice. He has to turn into the beast, but he can control it during the daylight. That would be cool if that was the case. But yeah, setting up this idea of Dazai and Kunikita. And Kunikita being a former math teacher is very, very funny, because as we talked at the beginning of the episode, he's based off a character that's a poet and known for romantical poetry. And so the idea that he was a math teacher, which seems like the furthest thing from a poet, is really funny. And I like that Dazai complimented Atsushi. He was like, "Oh, you think I'm an actor? That's so sweet." Acting is very much in Dazai's forte, because he has to be an actor. He has to flirt with these women, and he did that to get Harugi the little surveillance device in her pocket by pretending to flirt with her. And so Dazai's such a character, so mysterious, and I like that we get this little chunk of information. Of course, Atsushi doesn't hear it. He's knocked out during it. He doesn't hear that. And he won't get the 700,000 yen, but it doesn't matter, because apparently he's worth 7 billion yen on the black market, which is curious. So it looks like from the preview we're going to get to meet the head of the Port Mafia, which is the man with the monocle, the older man, and it looks like he has some ability and is gifted as well. But that's so intriguing. The idea that this mafia running the city, and Harugi's like, "Oh, you're just going to stop us with your dozen or so people?" So clearly the agency is very small. And so I'm curious to see who the other members are and how they come into play. But Naomi just jumping in there to save her brother, to save Tanizaki. I'm assuming it's anime logic, and even though they've been riddled with bullets and should probably have bled out and died by now, that they're going to be okay. I'm just assuming that we're going to do that, maybe. Maybe Naomi's going to be out for the rest of the season, and Atsuki is just, or Tanizaki is just going to be out of it. I don't know. But, man, that escalated rather quickly. I don't know why I didn't recognize her from the end of episode 2, but I didn't. Maybe it's because her hair wasn't up, but I did not recognize her and then as they're walking into the alleyway, I was like, wait a minute, she's the one that was with Akutagawa from the last episode. And then it's a trap. But oh my gosh. So yeah, Atsushi, your first day on the job. And I feel so bad for him, because Akutagawa was just basically like, you're just a burden to everyone. Like, you're not helpful, you're just a burden. And you should just come with us because you're not going to be helpful to anyone. And we can give you a purpose with this mafia deal. And I feel bad for Atsushi because he's clearly has this gift that he can't control up until this point. And so he feels guilt and shame and thinks that it is his problem, it is his fault. But, Akutagawa. What an interesting character. Interesting indeed. And it seems like him and Dazai have history, or they at least know each other. And Dazai, at least they know that he's a former Port Mafia member. I'm so curious, y'all. I'm so curious because, of course, Dazai's ability would be very useful for a mafia, to eradicate or eliminate any threats. Of course, that would be helpful to them. Oh, man. Interesting, y'all. Interesting indeed. But this episode was great. I feel like the show, it's finally coming into the action and everything on its own, and I'm all about that. So, very, very cool, guys. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below, what you guys thought of the episode. I thought that was great. I'm gonna research First Snow. I'm gonna research Rashomon. And I might leave Harugi for now because we didn't really get a good taste of her ability. She used it just barely. But I would definitely want to look up Akutagawa and Tanizaki and see what their abilities are for next episode. Those two specifically, because we saw their abilities used the most in this episode. So yeah, but that's pretty exciting. So I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. Please, no spoilers. But I hope you all enjoyed this reaction. And yeah, next week we'll be back with episode 4 of Bungo Stray Dogs. Bye.